Alright, well good afternoon everyone and welcome to another webinar from Connecting Up. My name is Christine and I'm the Let's Membership Coordinator here. So with me today we have Ben Teo, who's also from Connecting Up, and he will be taking you through the new features of Microsoft Office 2013. If you have any questions anytime during the webinar, please just type them in the question box and we will address them at the end of the presentation, just so to make sure that we've covered everything we need, do the demo, and then we can do the Q&A afterwards. We're also recording this webinar, and following this session, we will send you an email with a link to access it and also the slides. If you have any questions after, you can obviously contact us later on and I'll send you the details afterwards as well. So without further ado, with all the housekeeping notes done, I'll hand you over to Ben.
Hello, and thanks for having me. So this is me. Wait, let me see if I can share my webcam. Here we go. Hello people. So my name's Ben, and I am the Content and Community Coordinator here at Connecting Up. And today's webinar is less about the technical aspects of Office 2013, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about how I use it on a day-to-day basis. And we'll be looking at a lot of the main apps that you get with Office 2013. But first, I just want to show you a few things that I do here at Connecting Up. Okay, so in terms of my workload and the things that I rely on Office for, I do a lot of online content, so writing blog posts and Learning Centre articles. I also look after our social media channels, so we use Excel and Outlook to manage our content calendars. Also, I do my reporting, so I do monthly reporting on how our social media pages are going and what sort of traffic we're getting to our content. And of course, on a day-to-day basis, I'm in Outlook reading emails and using it also as my task list. So there's just a bit of an overview of the work that I do, and hopefully you'll see how that's all reflected through the use of Microsoft Office 2013. So what are we going to look at today? Alright, so we'll have a look at Word, we'll look at PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, and OneNote. There are a few other programs that you also get with Office 2013, programs like Microsoft Access and also Publisher as well if you wanted to use that. We won't look at those two in particular. Publisher in particular, you'll see a lot of the new features that are in Publisher are reflected in the other programs like Word and PowerPoint. So the other thing as well, I want to do as much live demoing of this as possible, so we'll try not to look too much at these slides as we go ahead. Now, as Christine said, we'll take questions at the end, but if there's anything really pressing, she'll interrupt me as I go. But this is just a demo of how we can use Office on a day-to-day basis and what the new features are. So some of you may be already familiar with Office. It's also worth pointing out that if you're on an older version, say Office 2003, they are discontinuing the support for that. So Windows XP and Microsoft Office 2003 are also both at their end of life, and that'll be they'll be finishing up support for those in April. So it's worth having a think about how you can upgrade. Okay. Well, of course, we'll also look at one of the key features of Office 2013, and that's integration with Microsoft's OneDrive cloud solution. Now, OneDrive used to be called SkyDrive. For those of you who already have a SkyDrive account, you don't have to sign up for a new OneDrive account. It's just a name change. Okay, so let's get started and jump into Microsoft Word. So for Word, I use this a lot for drafting up blog posts, but also just writing reports, doing, I don't know, do 101 things with Word when it comes to day-to-day business. So I'm just going to switch over to that now and show you Word. So when you open up Word, this is what you get. So this is the new introduction screen. You can see over here on the left, you'll see your recent documents. What's great as well, here you can actually pin documents as well. So if there's a document that you use regularly or you know you'll be coming back to quite often, say it's a project plan or something like that, you can pin that and that will stay at the top of your recent items so you can go to it. So I'm just going to open up a demo here. So this is just a demo account, a demo file. So don't worry about reading all of this unless you're really good at Latin. Then go for it. But Word is very similar. If you've used Office 2010 or 2007, you recognise a lot of the layouts. Things look a little bit cleaner. But some of the cool new features that they've added with Word in particular are the image editing features. You can also edit and create PDFs directly from Word. You can use a new read mode, and you can do some new things with the commenting features. So I'll just run through some of those for you. So if we wanted to insert a picture, for example, just right-click here. Go click Insert at the top here. Now if we want to insert a picture, we can either insert picture from your library as usual, but now they've got this new feature where you can insert online pictures, but also online videos as well directly into your Word document. So you can create really rich Word documents. The Word document is no longer, restricted to things that you print out, but you can actually send these around and people can interact with them. So if I want to do online pictures, you can look up your usual clip art from office.com. You can search for images on Bing, and you can also access your images from OneDrive. What's good about the Bing image search, so let's say I wanted to just find a picture of a car. You'll see this little note down here is that all these pictures here are licensed under Creative Commons. So if you've ever been looking for, say, a picture that you don't own but you want to use, say a free image, then Creative Commons is a good option. Creative Commons allows you to use pictures at various levels. So some Creative Commons photographers might let you use their image as it is, or you might need to attribute them, or you're not allowed to change them. Some let you change them. But Creative Commons is really good. If you're ever looking for blog post images, definitely check out Creative Commons. So let's say I wanted to grab one of these. I can do that. Or also, if I wanted to find all the web results, I can do that as well. The only danger in that is that they're not all Creative Commons. They may not be licensed. They're just images online. But I can insert any of these into my blog post, and it'll download it and throw it in. There we go. Now another feature they've got is if we can resize these as usual, but it's great that you've got layout options right next to the picture now, so there's no more fussing around with trying to find out where the layout options are, and you can change all the text wrapping. One of the issues in the past was that if you've ever tried to resize things or line things up, it can be a bit awkward and it's hard to get it accurate. But now they've got a new feature. If I drag this around, I might just move it there and change some of the text wrapping. Anyway, you can see these green lines pop up. What they are, they're just helpful guides to help me line up. So they'll actually snap to where it matches up to the paragraph there or the header, so everything looks really clean and in line. There's not sort of images sort of halfway through a sentence or off to the side or whatever. And you can also resize this and it'll keep it in line, which is great. If you wanted to add another photo, you can also line that up as well with the other photos. So if you're making a collage or something like that, that little feature, if you've worked a lot with graphics in Word or PowerPoint, is really, really handy. And again, that extends to Publisher as well. I know it's a small thing, but it does make a big difference when you're trying to lay out photos nicely, or graphics or charts or anything like that within Word. Okay, so what else can we do? The commenting system is really good now as well. So before if you wanted to have multiple people commenting on a document, you would have to try and get everyone to sort of highlight the same area and then comment and just follow the stream. But now, let's say I want to change this title. I'm just going to add a comment here. Hello, this is a comment. So I just added a comment, which is handy. Alright. Now, what's good here is you can actually see the person's information now. So this ties in with your Microsoft account. So if you've used your Microsoft account to link to Office, as you can see I've done here, you can actually get rich information about the people who are talking about this. And we'll look at this in a little bit later when we look at Office at Outlook as well. So here's a comment, as is, fantastic. Now, let's say I wanted to reply to this comment. I can hit this button here, and it'll actually reply in line. So again, before, if you wanted to reply to a comment and have a conversation about something, we wanted to change this header, or we thought it needed to be formatted differently, and there was 3 or 4 people trying to comment on that, we had to have like the same comment and highlighting the same area, and everyone trying to sort of fuss around here. But now you can see how the comments and the replies are all connected. This makes it a lot easier to track changes and track conversations, a lot easier to collaborate. Now, if there were multiple people commenting, again, we could see their names. We can actually contact them directly. Let's say we don't agree with them, we want to take it offline, where we can jump on here and send them an email directly, or give them a phone call if you set up with Link. But there's these contact cards are really helpful, and you can see this all throughout Office 2013. Great. Again, these commenting features are not just exclusive to Word. You can also comment on your PowerPoint presentation. So, for example, if you're creating a PowerPoint presentation for somebody else, or if you are working on a PowerPoint presentation together, or if you created a template that you want to help people with, then you can comment within that. Now, while we're here looking at comments, you can also look at the simple markup. So you can see here that if I track changes and I want to say delete this, you see it's deleted it, and instead of having all the red lines, it's just showing you what the change. It's almost accepted the change, but you can see on the left here there's a red mark notifying that there has been a change in there. And if we wanted to look at all the markup, you can do that as well. And that's sort of traditionally where Office started getting a little bit, or Word started getting a little bit ugly, because as soon as you make a whole bunch of changes, you lose the flow of what the document is. So using the simple markup is a really handy way to get a better feel for what the final document looks like. Again, if you're collaborating with a document, this makes it a lot easier. Just being able to link this to your OneNote account, you can make some notes on this document, and we'll look at OneNote later on. If you're using a touch screen or touch compatible device, you can also start inking, which means you can start writing if you've got a pen. But again, some of these features have been available in previous versions of Word. They've just been made a lot more accessible now in Office 2013. Okay, so that's a quick look at Word. Oh, a couple more things before we move on. I'm just going to open up a new document. So I'm just going to go to my OneDrive. One of the new features is being able to open up a PDF in Word and being able to edit it. So I've got like a demo PDF here. Now, by default, the PDF and other documents, okay, it's come out of read mode. What I can show you here is that we can actually edit this. So this is open up the PDF, and I can edit this directly. So if you've ever had to edit documents that have been sent to you by PDF and you found that challenging, now you can do that directly in Word, and you can, of course, you can save them. So I can change that if I want to do. Ooh, lots of hellos today. And save as, save it back into my OneDrive. Now I can save that as a Word document, or I can save it as a PDF. So before, when you wanted to create a PDF, what you would actually have to do is print it. But instead of printing to a printer, you would print to like a Adobe PDF or another PDF pseudo printer, and that would create a PDF document. Now you can save it as a PDF directly from Word. Now what I wanted to show you before is this feature here where it says read mode. If you have long Word documents that you need to read and you don't want to have to worry about all the toolbars, read mode simplifies the experience for you. So it goes to full screen and you can see it's broken up the pages as you need them. If you needed more pages, really easy just to click these buttons or use left and right buttons on your keyboard, and this will flick through. Again, if you have, I don't know, long documents or notes that you need to go through, or if you're just proofreading something for someone else, then read mode it's really nice and clean and easy to use. Sometimes if it's a protected document or a document that you're not meant to edit, it'll default to read mode, which is also handy because it's sort of what you're trying to do is just read the document. And then of course if you click edit document, it takes you back to the full screen. So that's a quick look at Word 2013. Actually, Kristen, I might pause there and see if there are any questions. Nope, all good. Just a reminder, if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat box on the GoToWebinar chat panel. And from here, we are going to jump over to PowerPoint. Okay, so PowerPoint, I do quite a few presentations and workshops and things like that. And PowerPoint is my go-to presentation tool, and there are some really handy new features in PowerPoint 2013 as well that you can access. So instead of showing you this, I'm going to go to my, let's open up my PowerPoint demo. Okay, first thing you may notice is that Office 2013 now has provision for widescreen formats. So before you were restricted to a 4:3 format like this, and this was the old, projector style TV screens, but now that there are more projectors working in widescreen, you can change your aspect ratio to match that. So you better fit more content into your slides, which is really handy. Another great feature here is that it's a lot easier now to add rich media and a rich content. So you can see here that with this slide, this templated slide, there is an option here to insert different types of objects. What I really like is the ability to link your Excel documents and your Excel charts into PowerPoint. I'm going to show you that in a little while, but I'll show you some smart art graphics first. So smart art is really just a way to show off your dot points to make them a little bit more interesting. So let's say you had, I don't know, you had a list of different things that you want to display, and rather than just putting dot points, you can hit the smart art and you can add your text and you can add images depending on what you want. And another cool feature is that if you go at the top here for your design, you can see as I roll over these different types of smart art, it'll actually change dynamically for me on the slide itself. And it won't change it permanently until I click the button. I'm just hovering over these. And that makes it a lot easier for me to find like a display that's going to be a lot more visually engaging depending on the content that I have in here. And of course you've got easy access to your color palettes, and you can also, if you found that you needed to revert it, you can also reset your graphics. There you go. Alright, so another great feature here is that if I wanted to, say, format something in here, let's say I want to change the background, I've just given it a right click and click Format Background. You'll now see that on the right hand side there's this pane that opens up, and that gives you all the formatting options. This is sort of like a tool pane here. You can do other things. So let's say we want to change, as soon as I click in the text here, you'll see that this has changed and given me options for the text, where I can add, I can add a line around that text box. So that's the actual shape. So the shape is the text box, and I can change the fill for the text box. If I wanted to change the text itself, I would click Text Options here, and I could change the transparency of the text. I could also add lines to the text and do different things to the text. So that just makes it a lot faster to edit your content rather than having to jump up to the ribbon at the top here and flicking through the different options, the different tabs. You've got them here in the sidebar, all the relevant ones that you need. Of course, they've got their usual transitions. So transitions are when a slide changes, so you can add your animations in there. You can also add animations to your objects. So let's say you wanted to just do something fun like that and make it grow and turn, you can do that. Or random bars. Of course, that's not really anything new, they've had those for a while. But what is good, now let's see if we can... Alright, now I'm going to click down here and you can see that it says motion paths. This is something a little bit different. We can actually, I don't know, people are in sort of two minds about animations in PowerPoint, but if you really love them and you want to make them a little bit more exciting, then you can dictate how the objects move. So I'm going to add a loop. You can see if you drew that motion path, make it a little bit bigger, we can make the path, change the path itself. You can see that, whoop, uh-oh. Alright, so you can see how that looks. Alright, so I'm going to click preview and it moves over the path. Now again, it's a nice little addition, but it depends on how you want to create your PowerPoint presentations. I don't do a lot of animations, but that can be pretty cool if you have something in particular in mind. But one of the best new features about PowerPoint is this thing called Presenter View. Now I can't show you Presenter View because I'm sharing my screen directly with you. But if I was running two screens, say I had my laptop connected to a projector and I had the laptop in front of me and the projector behind me, instead of being forced to, say, duplicate what I'm seeing, so seeing exactly what the audience sees and just sees the slide, I can see what they call Presenter View. I'm sorry the image is a little bit blurry here, but what Presenter View gives you is a specialized view that shows you what the next slide is. Oops, sorry. The next slide here is on the right. You can see your slide notes here as well. There are also some nice little options here where you can do some zooming. You can also draw directly on the slide. So if this was in Presenter View and I clicked this, I could choose to have a pen or a laser pointer or a highlighter. And if I had access to, say, a mouse and click that, I could draw on the slide, and that would also draw on the slide that the audience would see as well. And that's fantastic. I've used that for workshops just to highlight different objects on the screen. So let's say I want to really draw attention to this, this header that's at part 1. I could draw a little circle around that, and that would stay on the slide, and I can draw faces or whatever if I wanted to. You also get your timer here as well. If you're worried about time, you can see how long your presentation's been going, and you can also see how many slides you've got. So this presenter view is fantastic if you run workshops or if you're regularly doing presentations and you've traditionally, say, printed out your notes. You can actually have them in front of you now. As long as you can set up the room so that you've got your, say, a screen in front of you, you can set presenter view up. And it makes it a lot easier to present from, rather than having to sort of guess where you're up to or what's coming next, because you're just seeing the same slide on the screen. Again, this is a feature that's been available on some other platforms, and one we've been wanting to have in PowerPoint for a long time, and it works really well. Okay, so that's a quick look at PowerPoint. There are some other features. Again, with the drawing, if you wanted to group objects, you can do that as well. You can also animate your graphs. You can animate each element of the graph separately to make them a little bit more dynamic or show on the screen differently. But PowerPoint has come along really nicely with, especially with this presenter view. All right, Christine, any questions there? Not on PowerPoint? Okay, we'll keep moving to Excel. All right, so Excel, everyone loves Excel, don't we? If you love data and spreadsheets, this is your go-to. And they've also made this a lot more accessible in terms of trying to manage your data better and trying to create graphics and trying to create graphs. Because I know that was always, for me, it was always the clumsy part, trying to get the right graph and trying to make it look nice. But also in terms of the speed of being able to update your data and update fields is really handy now with Excel's flash fill. So let me show you this in action. So here we go. We've got a spreadsheet and we've got a bunch of email addresses here, but I also want to break this down into first names. I could also do last names and domain names or whatever. And traditionally, what you would have to do is type out, okay, Nancy Freehafer will be in the surname, and then do that for each individual one. And that, that's just time consuming. But now with flash fill, Excel is quite intelligent, and it'll work out what you're trying to do and try and help you out. So if I select this, if I go here and click Nancy, all right, and then I want to do Andrew. You'll see as soon as I start typing Andrew, Excel's worked out that I'm doing, well, it hasn't said you're doing first name. It's looking at sort of the data here and see, okay, there's a Nancy, then there's a full stop or a delimiter, and it's working out that I'm trying to pull this data out. So I've got Nancy, then I've got Andrew, and then it's worked it out, and it says, do you want me to fill out the rest of it? And I said, yes, please. I'm just going to hit enter, and it's filled it out all out completely. Now, of course, if you'd be pretty familiar with this if you have to manage a lot of data and lots of email addresses, but also a lot of delimited data like this. That just made it a lot easier. So there's only, what, 17 sort of data points here, but if there were a lot more, say, 120, if you had a big mailing list or something like that, it'd be a lot easier to do this than having to go through each individual field and having to work it out. So that's just one of the new features, flash fill. Now the next one is some quick analysis tools. So here we go. This isn't too unfamiliar. You've got some data here. I'm going to highlight the table, and as soon as I do that, you can see this little new quick analysis buttons come up here. So I'm going to click that. So I've just hovered on that for the tooltip to come up. Now I've clicked that, and you can see immediately I've got these formatting options, common used formatting options that I can just click and it'll edit it for me. Now this is a lot easier than having to go through all your tabs and trying to find the right one. Again, if I wanted to create a chart, I could do that really quickly and it'll ask me which ones to do. One that I like is spark lines. You can see here it's just a really simple graph of what's been happening with the sales there. Again, if you had multiple quarters there, that line will look a little bit different. But the spark lines are really simple representations. They're sort of just like mini charts. So again, if you have to work a lot with Excel, I know you'll find that this is fantastic. All right, so let's go again. So I've got a chart here. As I was saying, for me, finding the right chart has always been a bit of a cumbersome one, and you've got so many different options, and you're trying to find the best way to visualize what you're doing, and you can spend a good half hour just trying to find what the right chart for yourself. So instead of having to do it yourself, you can go Insert, and they've got a button here now under Charts called Recommended Charts. And it'll work out that you've got a couple of different variables here to compare, and they'll give you some examples. I can just hit that chart, and there we go. It's giving me a chart. Just delete the old one. And that's a lot easier than having to try and work it out yourself, unless you're like a seasoned professional. Another thing that you can do here, so we're talking about charts and embedding data into PowerPoint presentations. So let's say you've got a presentation for your board members and they want to see how you're tracking with your sales, or tracking with your fundraising, or tracking with your social media stats. I'm actually going to right-click this and copy this this chart. I'm going to go back into Excel. Oh, I'm going to go back into PowerPoint, sorry. Going to create a new slide, and I'm going to click this box, this one here, right click. Now you can see here with the paste options, there are a few different ways you can paste things in. Now I'm going to go with this one here that says use destination theme, so that's the theme from this PowerPoint presentation, and link the data. So this means that the data will still be connected back to the original Excel spreadsheet. All right. So here we go. You can see this chart here just reflects this chart in Excel, and the data is the same. Okay, the question is then, all right, let's say you're doing the same presentation, or you've made a mistake in this in your Excel spreadsheet, or you've accounted for something else, and you need to change this, but you realize that changing this means you'd have to go back and change your PowerPoint presentation. Now you can, because you've linked it, the data will carry across. So let's say the Q2 sales are actually not 746, but 74,690. Okay, so let's do that. All right, now you can see here that changed it immediately on this chart here. Now if I save this, file save, I'm going to come over to my PowerPoint presentation. Now it hasn't updated yet, but I'm going to select this chart and click Design, and click Refresh Data. Now, once it refreshes and thinks about it and goes through it, this line here will change. Yes, will it change? Oh, is this saved? Yes, it's going to prove me wrong, isn't it? Nope. Okay, it's not going to work. Not today. All right, let me try it again. So what I'm going to do is edit this data. Alright, I've hit edit data, then edit data in Excel 2013, and that's going to bring up the same spreadsheet. So that should, okay, that should be right. Okay. Well, technically that should work, and of course on the day that we're presenting it, it's not going to. So it has worked for us in the past, but it's a really handy way when it works to get your data changed on your presentation. Okay, well that's PowerPoint and Excel for you. Christine, were there any questions for those?
There are a few questions on Word, but we might just wait till the end before we go back to Word.
Okie dokie.
Alright, so after Excel, we're going to have a look at Outlook. Now, of course, this is my sort of go-to calendar. Now, for the sake of the presentation today, I've just created a few demo accounts. So this is just a demo Outlook account. Of course, you can tie this into your Exchange server, or you can add your other email addresses. And you can see here that it's pretty familiar. You've got your folders over here. You've got your preview pane, your emails, and you've got your task list. Now you can change the view around, it's fairly flexible. But one of the new features in Outlook 2013 that I really like is the ability to filter all your emails by unread. So let's say, all right, I'm going to mark this one here as unread. So let's say you come in the morning, you've got a bunch of emails, some of them you may have been read from yesterday, and you just want to have your unread ones. You can click unread, and it will filter that automatically for you, and you'll see all your unread emails all in one place and all together. Or you can click all, and you can see all your emails. So again, and it seems like a small feature, but if you're dealing with lots of emails, then that's a really handy way to filter. Of course, you've got your regular options like being a flag thing. So for me, at the end of the day, I try to zero out my inbox. So what that means is if there's anything that needs following up, I'll flag it as a task. All right. Same with this one. I don't need to follow that one. No, I don't need to follow that, so I'll archive that one. Now you can see as soon as I've flagged it as a task, it's come up in as something to follow up today. Let's say it's the end of the day and I don't want to follow up today. I'll just click this and I'll follow up tomorrow. Or I can change the date for that. I can customize that and say, all right, I don't have to get back to that until till later on. So I can do that. Again, you've got at the top here, you've got, as soon as you sort of play around the task list, this changes up here, and you can change the importance as well. And you can categorize this. So if you had categories set up, you can do that. Now I do have some tasks already in here. So let's say I want to check out what the tasks I have are for today. I can either look over here in the right-hand side, or if I didn't have that turned on, so that's actually a setting in the view. So I've clicked View here at the top. You can change all your different tasks. So this is the to-do bar, and you can turn that to add people there. You can also add your calendar, so what's happening today, or this. There you go. That's your sort of your agenda there. But you can turn that off. Okay, so if you didn't have any of those, you can also go down here, down here to the bottom, and you've got some new navigation options here. Now what you'll notice is that while these were traditionally tucked away and off to the side, but now you can hover over these for a quick preview of what's going on. So I can have a quick look at my calendar here. It's pretty simple. Can look at some of the people. If there's people that are regularly in contact with, I can add them there as favorites, or I can search my contacts directly from there. And again, I've got my tasks open as well. So there's lots of options for accessing all the things that you would use on a daily basis. For example, you may not want to use this to-do bar if you have a smaller screen or a smaller resolution. You're just finding that that's just getting too cluttered. You can instead you just default and look down here. There's also other things here. You can change navigation options, and you can use compact navigation, where it just changes it to icons. Okay. So personally, I like to keep it bigger. All right. If I click through the tasks, I can see all my tasks here that need to be done. So for the sake of today, I've just set tasks for things I need to demo. There you go. And you can mark them as done or whatever you want to do there. Now, what I do like about the new social connector that's available in Office 2013 that comes default is that you can link your, say, your LinkedIn profile and your Facebook profile, and it will pull information about your contacts from Facebook and from LinkedIn if you're friends or if you're connected with them. And you can also, let's say, for example, if I clicked on me, so I've added my work email here. It's also set up, it's also connected it to my LinkedIn, and on my LinkedIn I've also got a secondary email address which is ben@hellobentio.com.au, and that's pulled that in for me automatically. If there was any other information here, let's say if I wanted to make some notes, I can also add that. If there was some Facebook information, if I was friends with myself on Facebook through this account, then it would show up some Facebook info. But this is also pretty cool. If you're interested in keeping in touch with people or just seeing what people are up to, you can click what's new. And what this will do is, again, it'll pull in information. So this is public information here from Facebook, public information from my LinkedIn profile as well. And so you can actually see what people are talking about, and you can connect with people directly. So it's also pulled in the photo too. So for example, if Ryan had a photo on his LinkedIn account, or if he had this email address tied to his LinkedIn account, it'll pull in the photo automatically in the same way that it's done for Anne, Josh, and Christine. I haven't had to upload those photos myself. It's automatically done that. So I can send email. You can also look at the sources. So I can click LinkedIn. And by clicking on LinkedIn, I can go directly to their LinkedIn profile and connect with them if I was signed in. Okay. Another really handy way if you want to build professional relationships with people that you're in touch with regularly and connect with them via social media. So you can see that there's these social elements that have been built in. Now these have been somewhat included in previous versions of Outlook, but you've had to add them on as a special feature. This is the LinkedIn and Facebook connector is now directly involved or directly included with Office 2013 and Outlook 2013. And of course, these people, all this people content then translates back to that commenting system that I was talking about. So that photo from that commenting system will also appear there. These contact cards will also appear in that commenting system. So you get a really full view of the people that you're collaborating with. So especially if you're collaborating with someone that's external from your office, then that's really handy too, that you can see all the information about that person that you need, provided that you've got it connected to your Outlook contacts list, or you're connected to them with, say, LinkedIn or Facebook. Okay. Another nice little feature for the calendar is that if you want to, you can also set it up so it has weather. Now it's set to New York. I'm in Adelaide, so I want the weather in Adelaide. Oh, Adelaide, Australia, requesting. And if I wanted to, I can go to my settings and change that to Celsius. Another thing that you can do here, let's say if I wanted to go change my work week view, I can click change time zone. I can set a second time zone. So let's say I work a lot with, or let's say if there's anyone in Melbourne, Melbourne time, Adelaide time. You can add a second time zone here, which makes scheduling a little bit easier as well, especially if the time zones are quite different. So we often have conversations with people, say in San Francisco, or even in New Zealand, where the time difference is quite significant, so we need to change that. So that keeps us up to date with what's going on. Another handy feature, you can also add other calendars as well. So if I click Australia Holidays, you can see that the Australia Holidays calendar is now on the right-hand side here. And I can overlay those together, and it will show me, if that was populated, to show me all the different Australian holidays that were in there. Again, really handy if you're trying to set up a meeting with 3 or 4 different people, so you can even pull in another calendar and overlay a whole bunch of different calendars and see when people are free. Really, really handy. Okay, so that's Outlook for you. Before we move on, you may have noticed that in some of the documents that we've looked at, there's a little button here that says OneNote or Export to OneNote. OneNote is, if you haven't seen it before, it's a note-taking app which is quite powerful and available as part of Office 20. Now, I've hit OneNote, send to OneNote. OneNote is broken up into a bunch of notebooks, and each of those notebooks and each of those sections have pages. So I'm going to send it to my work notebook, and I might put presentation notes, or I might actually just append it to this page. So I'm going to click OK. Now, it's quickly opened up OneNote for me. All right, so this is OneNote. And you can see I'm in the presentation notes section, and there's a page here at today's webinar, and it's added that email, the content from that page. I could add another page. Let's say I'm doing another presentation, let's say social media for not-for-profits. I could make my presentation notes in there, and I could have sent it to there instead. So if you're trying to get away from having multiple pieces of paper everywhere, and you want something that's a little bit more free-form than, say Word, where you're sort of just restricted to this, or if you're looking for something that has a mobile app to take notes, then OneNote is a really, really good option. What I do like about this is that these notes are a lot more flexible. So if you're a visual person and you like to map things out, like you like to do mind maps, you can do that sort of thing within OneNote. You can also draw and annotate and do all sorts of other things within OneNote. So you can put circles around your text. Inked math is pretty cool as well. If you do lots of math, I don't know, but it can read numbers and do equations. Now the great thing is that OneNote also has free apps for, of course, your Windows phone, but also Android and your iPad and your iPhone, and also for Windows 8.1 as an app. So you can see this is, if you're a Windows 8.1 user, this is what we call a desktop app. But I can also open up OneNote as a modern UI app or a Start app, and you can see it's automatically synced that across. So it's synced to my OneDrive or SkyDrive, and then sync back down to the touchscreen app. I can do edits here. I'm just going to show you. So I'm just touching the screen now. It's a lot more intuitive with the touchscreen. So there's all things. So that's just me touching the screen. All right. So I'm going back to the desktop. So same app, but the desktop app. So if you need a note-taking app across your devices, then definitely think about using OneNote. Very, very handy and synchronizes across OneDrive, which of course brings us to OneDrive. You can see at the top here as well that in all the apps that we've been using, you're going to see my face up here. The reason why you can see that is that I've connected this to my my Microsoft account. So what this means is that I can save. So when I save this, I can save this to my OneDrive and sync all my documents up into the cloud. This means that I can have the same experience on whatever computer I use. So this is my work laptop, but let's say I went home and opened up my retail version of Office 365 that I have for my personal use. And if I connect that retail version to this same Outlook account, Outlook account, Microsoft account, what I will see are the same documents available. So if I close this and saved it, when I open up Word at home, I would see the same recent documents, and I click this, and it would open this up. Now, in some features, if this was a different computer or if I had changed what I was doing, there would be a little pop-up saying, would you like to continue from where you last left off? And if I click yes, let's say I was on page 3 or 4, instead of opening to page 1 and me having to scroll through and trying to find out where I was, I click yes, and it will automatically take me to where I was last working. And that's independent of what computer I was using, as long as I've connected it to my my Microsoft account. And then that Microsoft account also helps me sync all my photos, my contacts, my calendar items across all my computers, and makes that really seamless. So it almost gets to the point where you could use any computer that has Office 2013 or Office 365 installed. Log in with your Microsoft account and you'll get all your information right in front of you, no matter where you are. Even if you're using a computer that didn't have it installed, you can go to Office, you can go to, well, I'll go to OneDrive and show you directly from OneDrive. Okay. Once you're logged into your Microsoft account, you get access to, of course, your OneDrive account, but you get access to these web apps as well, where you can edit your documents online, and this is a free option as well if you have Office 2013. And these are quite powerful in themselves and worth looking at in another webinar, but they're essentially a sort of a simplified version of the desktop app, but still very usable and very serviceable and very useful. And you can also use these on mobile devices as well. So you can open this up in Safari on your iPad, for example, and have access to your Word account. So you can do word processing on your tablets. Very handy. Now, of course, the question at the end of all of this is, how can your not-for-profit access donations of these products? Connecting Up, our job is essentially to work with corporate partners and to make sure that you, as a not-for-profit organisation, can get access to low-cost software and technology and other products. And through our relationship with TechSoup Global and Microsoft, we facilitate donations from Microsoft. So Microsoft donate licenses of Office 2013 to organisations around the world, and in Australia, New Zealand and Asia, Connecting Up works to make those donations happen. So we have 2 versions that are available through Connecting Up. One is Microsoft Office 2013 Standard, which is your basic apps, and it's about it's only a very small cost of retail, so we do charge a small administration fee just to keep ourselves sustainable, but to also cover the costs of administration and our customer support team and and to help the process keep happening. So it's only a small percentage of your retail fee, but you can access standard, or for a few dollars more you can get Professional Plus, which has a lot of additional features. And the additional features are handy, especially if you are looking at, in the future, upgrading or transitioning to Office 365 Enterprise. You can use your Office 2013 donation to work with Office 365, the E1 package. So that's a quick overview. And if you do want to find out more, you can go to the Connecting Up website, the TechSoup website, TechSoup New Zealand website, or the TechSoup Asia website, depending on where you're from. So that's it from me, but we might just jump over to the questions and see how we're going.
Thanks, Ben. We do have quite a number of questions. Most of them are on Word and the OneDrive that you just explained earlier. We'll try to endeavour to answer all of them. We might go over time, so feel free to stay if you're free, but otherwise you can catch up on the recording later on anyway. So we'll just start back on, a Word being able to edit through PDF, etc. So can you restrict PDFs from being edited?
Yeah, that's a good question. You would have to do that when you save your PDF. You would have to protect it from editing. But yeah, you can do that if you needed to.
So can you import a PDF section into an existing Word document as well as just edit the PDF?
What I would probably do is open up the PDF and open up the Word document, and then you can just highlight what you need to access and copy and paste it over. I haven't tried actually inserting a PDF directly. If you want, we can try that right now. But maybe insert an object. But you could try. Here we go. So if we wanted to insert a PDF, yeah, you would still need to, you would insert it as a whole object rather than a section. So what you would probably need to do is insert it, and then that would be clickable, or you can see it's inserted as an image rather than an editable section. So you have to open it up separately and edit it from there.
So, sorry, how do you add a place to save documents on Word? For example, how do you quickly get to a particular place on your hard drive to save documents to? Can you do like a favorite saving spot?
Yep, so when you can go File Save As, and you can, now by default it does go to OneDrive. Microsoft's really pushing for people to use OneDrive, and that, again, that's part of Office 365 as well, is using their cloud storage. But as you can see here, once you do a few saves, you can get recent folders if you want. Yeah, and if you want to do computer and you want to do your desktop, you can save it to your desktop. Now, if I want to save as, now you can see that that recent folder has now appeared, and I can pin that. So I'm going to pin that to desktop, so that will now stay at the top of your recent folder. So even if you wanted to, if you're creating a new document, for example, let's see, you just need to click computer and desktop. You can click add place, but these add places are still tied to, say, SharePoint or sort of a server. It's just that next step is clicking computer first.
Moving on to the next question, just more about Excel and stuff. Well, I guess generally Microsoft Office. Is there a way to limit the size of the file when you have linked-in charts, etc., as they tend to get very large when you bring data from other locations?
Yes. Let me have a look. Now, I know with PowerPoint you can set it with your save options. Here we go. So when you save it, you can choose how much data you want, or you can merge and embed fonts if you want. It's a good question about file size limitations. I'd have to look at that, and I haven't played around with that much. But from memory, there was an option where you could essentially strip out all the links, and you could reduce the quality of images if you're simply using it for, say, like a final presentation that you need to put on a USB stick or a final presentation that you need to email. Those options were available too, but I would have to look at it a little bit further for you on that one.
Stefan is asking about Power Pivot add-in. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, Ben, but apparently there is a Power Pivot add-in for Excel Office 2013 Professional Plus, but he heard that there is no Power Pivot add-in for Excel Office 2013 Standard Edition. Is that correct? This is for data analysis on Excel.
So there was no
Pivot add-in? It's for data analysis.
Oh no! To be honest, I haven't. I don't work a lot with. I'm guessing it's to do with pivot tables, and to be honest, I don't do a lot of those. In terms of Power Pivot, no, I don't know about the add-ins. There are a lot of add-ins that you can access through Microsoft, and there might be some official ones. There may be some unofficial ones. I don't know. Sorry, I haven't used that plugin in particular.
Thanks. I so quickly looked at the link you gave me, Stefan, and it seemed that it just says Office Professional, so maybe it is not applicable to Standard Edition. But I guess just we'll investigate a bit further as well. The next question from Donna. Is there a way to use some Microsoft shared calendar if the other person is not using Microsoft account? So at the moment they're using Google shared calendars because it's free, but can you do that through Microsoft, sharing calendars?
Yep, definitely. So you can add calendars. So I've just got an Outlook and calendars and you click Add Calendar. What you would do is click From Internet. So let's say the person's using Gmail or whatever, they would have to export a link for you to access, and then you would add that in there. So you can use the ICS format, which is pretty well known, and you can change what that is. Now let me have a look for you, and I'll show you how that works. So let me get a proper Australian holidays calendar. So when you're in Gmail or if you're in Outlook.com, you can, when you go to the calendar, there is an option to share and share via a link. And if you go through those, you'll get something that will look a little bit like an ICS file now. Oops. Okay, so I want an ICS or iCal calendar as well. Okay, so do you have an ICS for me? No, you don't. All right, what we do, if you could find that .ics file to export, then you'll just go Add Calendar from Internet, and you'd paste the link. So whatever that is. So you can see there's an example there. It would have to be that .ics, and that would synchronize online, so that you'd have to have an internet connection to make sure those calendars are synchronized.
Kim's question, can you explain how archive works?
Yeah, so I've got an archive folder which I just use there myself. There is an option where you can auto-archive after a certain date, and Outlook will throw it in there automatically. I've just got it there because that's the folder that I use for my archives. If I wanted to, I could create a new folder and change that for something else. So that's like a general or say completed, and I'd throw it in there. But archive is generally something that you would use you know, as an auto feature, auto archive, or you might want to set up a rule or something that sends emails automatically there.
Ben, you talked about the whole contact thing before and how you can see the Facebook info, etc. Can you turn those features off if you don't want to see their Facebook info, and also vice versa, that you don't want the professional contact to have access to your Facebook info?
Yep, sorry, my microphone was off. Yes, that's not a problem. The plugin is there by default, but it will only work if you connect your social network. So you can see here, I've clicked connect to a social network, and it's ticked that I've connected them because I've gone through and added my details and my account details so that accesses it. Now, if you don't want other people to see that information, just be aware that all of this is only accessible by public data. So I would only see Anne's email picture here if she made that public on LinkedIn, which she has, and if she's associated her email address with her LinkedIn profile, if she has. Same with the Facebook updates. So what's new? All of this is only available publicly. It's not available. I won't see any private information here. So again, that's only assuming that I've got access to the same email address that you have used for your LinkedIn profile or for your Facebook profile.
How do you set up the whole OneDrive thing without each staff member having to create a separate Microsoft account?
Yeah, that's probably a good question for our tech team, one that I don't work with. Now, you can set up. If you wanted to go down that path, your best option would actually be to start investigating something like Office 365, the enterprise versions where you have your SharePoint, your SkyDrive Pro available, or OneDrive for Business, which is so. There you go. It used to be SharePoint My Sites, then it was SkyDrive Pro, and now it's OneDrive for Business. And that's how you would sort of set it up to connect with your domain. Now, in terms of this computer in particular, I've logged in with my Microsoft account, but I can also log in to this without any problems using my my local domain account as well. So my Connecting Up Exchange account, and that wouldn't be a problem. But if you want to set it up so that that each individual person wouldn't have to set up a Microsoft account, I have a feeling, and I'm not 100% sure on this because, again, as I'm saying, like, this is more of me as an end user using this, you would have to go down the path of SharePoint and using SkyDrive Pro / OneDrive for Business, which is tied into Office 365 or SharePoint 2013.
I just got a comment from one of the participants about the thing that you worked on, or demonstrated earlier on Word about PDF, inserting PDF document as an object. So she was saying that if you double click the PDF object, it will just open the file itself. So yep. That's just an additional information if you'd like to know that I thought I'd share from the other delegate. Anyway, on to the next question. Still on OneDrive, Ben, is it possible to lock work documents down so that employees with linked accounts can't open them on their personal accounts?
Yeah, so you can definitely set privacy settings up, and you can make it so that only people with the link can edit them or view them or not see them at all. If you were doing it at an enterprise level, my guess is you probably have to use look at things like group policies and things like that. But you can limit who sees what. If you're using the same SkyDrive account across your organisation, that's not the best idea. But again, you won't be able to restrict that. But you can definitely restrict it from the level if you're sharing documents. You can restrict who has access to those shared documents.
Can I still use OneDrive if I never use Outlook for my email?
Yeah, definitely. So you can set up a OneDrive account. Now, essentially what's going to happen is if you create a new OneDrive account, what it's doing is really creating a new Microsoft account, and your Microsoft account has access to Outlook, has access to Office Online and OneDrive. I don't think there's a way that you can just sign up for one of those. You end up signing up for all of them. But that doesn't mean that you have to use all the other features. If you just want to use OneDrive and get your free data, just store your photos or whatever, store your documents, and you can do that as well.
Diane is asking, how do I paste 50 email addresses into Outlook at one time, for example, into a group?
Right, so assuming that you've got them already in your contacts list, you just click one, you can hold shift and click the next one and click the group, and you can and then you can you send that? Can you send an email? Oh, nope, maybe not. That's a good question. All right, let's do it the old school way. So you go to mail, new email, click two, and then highlight everybody you want. So you click one, hold shift, and select and click Ryan, and it selects all of them. Or if you hold control, you can select individual ones and click two, and then OK. If you don't already, if you're talking about importing a whole bunch of contacts into Outlook itself, to be honest, I haven't seen how you can do that. I haven't done that myself. I don't know if it's possible to do bulk imports of contacts. If those 50 people are someone that you're emailing on a regular basis, I'd recommend setting up like a group, so I can add. I could add. Let's go. Oops. You can create contact groups. Ah, there it is. Ooh, why isn't that working for me? Normally that's not shaded, but I can create a contact group of those people and send an email to that group of people. If you're talking about sending emails to those people, again, like for a newsletter or something, I'd actually recommend not using Outlook for that and look at using something like MailChimp as a way to do bulk communications. There are a few things in terms of spam laws and things like that that MailChimp can help you out along with design, but that would be my recommendation.
Email is in the contact list. It's not on the contact list, but they're attached to an email.
Right. So maybe they'll reply all or something would work in that situation. So if you hit reply all, that'll reply to every single person on that email list. If they were CC'd in, it would CC them in automatically. So if you want to email, if you're in a big email chain and you wanted to reply to that email chain, you hit reply all, and that's how you do it.
Alright, just one last question. Can you access Office 2013 from any computer through the internet? Well, I guess mainly the files.
Yeah, so to do that, that's where OneDrive comes in. So from any computer, from any computer with an internet browser, I can hit OneDrive and I'll find my documents here. Okay, so these are the documents that I've been demoing today, and I can either I've right-clicked on that, open an Excel. Let's say I don't have Excel installed. I could now, if I just click on it by itself, it'll actually open this up in Excel Online. And this is within the browser. I haven't opened up any external documents. This is still within Internet Explorer. And you can see here the formatting is good. I still have my basic editing options, and I can go around and change these and save these, and then this would save back to my OneDrive. And let's say I get back to work from, say, working at an internet cafe or something, get back to work where I've got my Office 2013 installed, and open that document from my OneDrive. All those changes would come across. So that's really how OneDrive and Office Online helps you access your documents from anywhere. Now, a point here is that this is the sort of the personal retail version. If you wanted to do this for a large organization, you would use, Office 365 for this, the enterprise version, and tie this to SharePoint 2013.
Thanks, Ben. Just adding to Ben's comments but before about the Office 365, Aline, I think if you want to access the software through the internet, probably Office 365 is a better option for it, that you don't have to install it. Do you want to add on to that, Ben?
So with Office 365,
you'll of course you get free access to the Office Online.
So you'll get the same sort of online editing options here. Plus, you'll also get, depending on which version you get, so if you get the retail version of Office 365, you'll get the desktop apps as well. From the enterprise level, if you go with the Office 365 E1 package, you only get these online apps, but then you also get a whole bunch of hosted server packages like Exchange Server and SharePoint built into that E1 package, so enterprise tools. And then if you wanted to go to the next step, you would go to the E3 package where you would get your online tools plus those server tools plus plus your desktop tools. Of course, if you're a not-for-profit and you can access Office 2013 donations instead of having to go to the full E3 package, you can get the E1 package and use that for all your online stuff, and then use your software donations as your offline, and they'll talk readily between each other without any problems.
Great. If you also want to know more about Office 365, we'll be running regular Office 365 webinars very, very soon. We don't have any schedule yet, but if you just keep an eye out on our emails and newsletters, and you'll see them and you can participate to get more information on that. Great. We've gone about 15 minutes over time, and I think that basically ends the webinar. If you, I noticed a few last-minute questions popped up. We'll just reply to those ones offline if that's okay with you. It's just 2 additional questions in terms about storage and OneDrive. So we'll let to Stefan and Jane. We will answer that offline. Other than that, thank you very much for attending, everyone. We see that quite a number of people stayed for the Q&A session. I hope that has been useful to you. If you do have further questions after you go away from the webinar, you can always email us and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you. I'll send an email follow-up with the link to the recording. And yeah, I hope to see you at the next webinar. Thank you, Ben, and thanks, everyone. Bye.